everybody. Okay, so this is just the update on eating the soup I made earlier. Actually cooking it now, I'm eating it. So let's talk about my fasting woes. I mean, like pickles. This is really good. Really encourage you guys to try making quick pickles. You don't have to worry about like preservation and like sterilizing jars and all that bullshit. So unofficially, I've been trying to do 2 fast days a week. Not necessarily contiguous days, but like just to try and do 2 fast days a week. With the option of like eating something small if I feel the need to. But I don't know, this past week or so, my weight has been kind of going up. Like, it went up to like 166 and stuff, which I can understand because a little bit there was because I was decided to like take a little bit more liberty to eat more carbs or like have a little bit more freedom in the food I eat. But the weight gain I get from like eating one day of like just eating junk, and then then it takes me like at least a week to resolve that. So I was like, for a while I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I don't know, I don't care. If this is what my body needs to do, then that's fine. But I don't know. But this week I was just a little bit frustrated. I was like, fuck it, I'm going on a fast. Which in retrospect is probably not what I should do. I should just deal with it. I should just like I should just deal with trying to eat normally every day, and try to eat normally every day, and then and have my body weight stabilize. But I'm impatient, man, because once I see stuff like 165 on the scale, it sets my alarm bells ringing, because it's like I don't want to. Because at 165, it only takes like a couple of donuts to like jump up to 170 because of my water, because I retain a lot of water. So, and that would just mess up with my head psychologically. So, but then I've been toying, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try and do when I went back and forth on the idea, because it's like, because I was already committed to like doing probably 1 long-term fast per month. Like when I say long-term, I mean 5 days at least. But I was not committed to the idea of doing long 5 days of 0 calories every day. that I thought was probably a bit too much for me. So then it was a question of like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to so I thought, okay, maybe I could probably spend the first 2 days being 0 calorie, and then the next 3 to 4 days having some kind of a soup, which frankly is not out of the norm. Like, for example, there's this fasting clinic. I can't pronounce the name. It's Bruce Schilder. It's a fasting clinic in Europe, and they've written research papers on fasting. And for them, fasting is not 0 calories. For them, fasting is like, it's a fancy fasting clinic that is kind of a clinic / spa where people come there and they get pampered, and they get massages, they get enemas. So it's a very posh place. But like for them, fasting is like 300 calories. And I think to them it's probably up to 400 or 500 calories of like something vegetarian. And they've written research papers on like people going on this fasts of like 300 to 500 calories of vegetable soup for like, for long term 8 to 10 days or so. So I guess I would push back on this idea of like fasting needs to be like 0 calories. Like based on the research papers they've written, like the biomarkers and like the blood markers and all of that, and all of their tests, they come out in the same range. They show the same positive effects as if you were doing like a 0-calorie fast. So there. And then also there is the research by Dr. Walter Longo, who does fasting mimicking diets, and he does this in the context of cancer. Hold on a second, I have to kill a bug. Bugs everywhere. So he does, like I was talking about Dr. Walter Longo, who does this in the context of cancer patients. And for them, and his take is that it's hard to like create a clinical trial where you're asking cancer patients to fast 0 calories. And so he came up with like this fasting mimicking diet as a way of like mimicking fasting, so that his cancer patients can do something like that before. And this is in the context of doing chemotherapy, because he showed that if you fast like 3 or 4 days before taking chemotherapy, they're taking the chemotherapy dose, and I think a couple of days after, but I'm not exactly sure of the details, that those people those who did that show much more positive effects and less side effects from chemotherapy than those who do not fast. And it's something to do with the way, like, it's something to do with like fasting, you know, it destroys white blood cells, but then also in the growth phase it makes your white blood cells more sensitive. So somehow fasting makes the chemotherapy more sensitive to the cancer cells and less dangerous and less destructive to the healthy cells. So he has his own company based on that, and people like, you know, poo-poo him on that. But I can understand it, like, you know what, if you can get cancer patients who are like dealing with nausea and all of that, and muscle wasting, if you can't get them to fast, if you can't get them to do 0-calorie fast, then what's the next best thing? And then he came up with his own unique formula. And there are people who have tried to, like, it's patented, so people try to mimic the macros, but the main thing is that you shouldn't have protein, you know, because protein sort of kickstarts the process. It sort of kickstarts your body's growth processes and pro-growth processes, and the point in fasting is that you want to attenuate the growth processes so that the body goes into garbage collection mode. So, but to me, I'm not really looking for fasting for, like, you know what, like the autophagy benefits or like the cancer destroying benefits or anything like that. I'm just looking at fasting from the context of weight loss and trying to keep it low. And then also, like, my skin, the one thing I do notice with fasting is like it makes my skin a lot better, feel a lot better. Like this past week when I was having this sort of weight gain because I was not even eating that crap. It's not like I was binging. It was not like a month ago where I was just eating a whole day of or even eating like 2 days worth of donuts or anything. It was maybe it's the Jello, maybe it's the artificial Jello that is not well, anyway. But then I noticed that I was having pimples, you know. Yeah, generally that's like when I start having pimples on my face, that's when I know my diet is crappy and my diet is not on par and I have to reverse course, and I have to reverse course and go back onto the straight path. That's generally, like, once I start seeing my face and there are breakouts and like a little, like some kind of rash, then I know immediately, like, okay, time to reverse course and go back on the straight and narrow. So that is it. So now this is the 3rd day where I'm eating the soup, and these past 2 days have not really been good. Like I said, I'm very unproductive when I'm fasting because I'm just bored, lethargic, and just have no energy. I don't understand the people who can do a lot, who are very productive during fast, because I'm absolutely not. Maybe if I just push through it, but I'm absolutely not. So last night I was toying with the idea of, like, okay, since if I'm going to be doing soups, then might as well do I might as well do like juicing and all that. But to me, I find juicing to be a waste. Yeah, I find juicing to be a waste. And I'm not very convinced about. Not only do I find juicing to be a waste, I'm not very convinced about eating all that vegetables without adding fats to it for all the vitamins. Because without the fats, especially for the vitamin A, you're not absorbing a lot of you're not absorbing a lot of the nutrients. Like, so if you don't have the fats to like absorb the fat soluble nutrients from like vitamin A from kale or like carrots, then you're not. It feels like you're wasting a lot of food. It's also kind of expensive. Well, yeah, depends on how much you want to spend on fancy stuff, but it's not only expensive, it's just a pain. I do have a juicer. I have like a masticating juicer, like a Champion juicer that I bought off Craigslist. It's cute. It's just so much work. It's just a lot to work with it, and clean up too. And also that masticating juicer requires you to mix soft vegetables with hard vegetables because it doesn't do very well with soft vegetables. So that's a lot of work. I guess in a way you could have just gone with a regular juicer that just grinds stuff up. But there is a theory that when you're grinding stuff up at high RPM, you're actually cooking the juice and you're losing a lot of the nutrient benefits, but who knows, whatever. I do have that. I do have one of that, but that's another contraption. Or I could just use my Vitamix. I'm just, use it, or you can just make soup. You don't have to worry about mash and pulp. You just put it in, make it in the soup, and you drink everything. And if your body can absorb any much of it, you just you shoot it out, I guess. This soup is actually quite good. Coconut milk makes everything better. So I don't know how many calories is this. At least with the fat I know, because that was about like 15 grams of fat. So that's about 150. Yeah. So 15 grams times 10, that's 150 calories. And then the issue is that the vegetables and like all the other stuff, which I probably would guess is like 300. But I'm worried more about the carb count. Because ideally I want this to be under 25 grams to keep the ketosis threshold. But with the carrots and the whole bunch of like curry paste in there, it might actually be more than that. So I do like the idea of grinding up the kale. That way I don't have to chew on kale. And in other news, the mutant cauliflower is finished. It's all gone. Finish it up in this batch. Good. So we'll see how my stomach reacts to this because it's quite spicy. I do actually feel the hunger though, so I could eat this whole thing. I was planning with eating this and then maybe going for a walk. Go for a 3-mile walk. Anyway, we'll see how this soup thing goes. I'm planning to do this for the next 5 days. So next 5 days. So that's 5 days of eating soup and 2 days of 0 calories. So we'll see how it goes. Eating this, I'll probably well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. And then and then after that, I don't know. My diet plans are up in the air. I would like to eat more carbs, but from my experience with, I guess here's the thing I've noticed about when people say they want to eat more carbs. When they say they want to eat more carbs, what they mean is that they want to eat more junky food. Because I'm sure that if I keep eating, if my carbs are kept to like oatmeal and lentils or beans, yeah. If you say that, oh, eat carbs, well, you can eat as much, but the only thing you can eat is oatmeal and beans. I don't, that's not very satisfying. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So really, what I want is sugar and fat plus. Well, really, what I want is sugar and fat plus sugar. That's really what it is, and carbs plus fat. So like if I want to look at it the other way and be like, oh, I want to eat more healthy. If I want to eat more carbs in a healthy way, I have no interest in doing that. I have no interest in eating beans and lentils and quinoa. It's really not what I'm desiring. What I want is just I want calorie dense junk. Which I think it's a cue that I think it's a cue that I need to probably eat more. Yeah, so that probably means I just need to eat more of what I'm eating. And I wasn't particularly restricting. Well, I had a routine of protein, like a protein shake, like kind of I call it protein fluff. I had a whole bunch of things in it. It's not carb free. I was like it was protein powder plus berries, plus frozen berries. So that was pretty, and I had the freedom to eat fruit. You know, if I wanted an apple or a peach, I'll eat that. So I wasn't exactly restricting on that. And then for dinner, I would have soup with my like meats and vegetables. So maybe I need to eat more meat. That's probably because I guess the meat I was restricted on a little bit, because I was eating like maybe 200 grams of beef, and this is lean beef too, which is not as satisfying as a fatty beef. But I was eating 200 grams of beef, and I was also adding like 100 to 150 grams of shrimp, and I was also adding the fish too. So it was not exactly. It wasn't exactly. I think on the all I was eating 1600 to 1700 calories per day. So I'm not exactly sure. Like, I think probably another issue that compounded it was starting to do exercise again. Exercise just it makes you feel hungry, which is kind of tricky to do, because it's like even though you're hungry, it's not like the exercise itself is particularly. The exercises I do, like the kettlebells and like the yoga, it's not intense. So I don't think I'm eating. I don't think I'm burning at most 200 calories doing those things. It's not intense. So, but you're hungry, and you're hungry for a lot more than the 200 calories I burn. So you have to be careful with that exercise-induced hunger, because it's like it would make you eat more than. It can very well make you eat more than you burned off, and you kind of. Anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but another problem with adding carbs is that if I add carbs, I have to cut something out, because my TDEE is like 1700. It's less now because I'm losing muscle like left and right. So it's more like 1600. So if I'm going to add more carbs, then I have to cut something out. Should I cut protein? I'm a little worried to cut protein, so that means I have to like cut fat even more, which sort of defeats the purpose, because and I was also eating a lot of chocolate still. So I was also eating a lot of chocolates during this while. So it's not like I wasn't restricting myself from day to day. So if I have to cut fats, that defeats the purpose of eating carbs, because what I want is fat plus sugar. Anyway, I'm gonna finish the rest of this soup. And there is still more, but I'm kind of full, so we'll see. See you guys later.